Hi, welcome to This Week in Property. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm editor, Magic Bricks, and I have with me Prabhakar Sinha. He's editor, real estate editor, Times of India. And we're talking about the IBC, the amendment to the IBC code, the home buyers who have become, got the status of secured creditors. So what does this mean to the real estate industry? What does this mean to the home buyers? If your developer has not made your home, do you think you can get your money back? Is that what it means? It's a very complex issue, and we thought this is important enough for consumers to understand that changes in law have various implications and how you should be able to interpret the changes in law. We're still waiting for a presidential approval, but more or less this amendment has been accepted, right?
Yeah.
So, Prabhakar, for a consumer, what does this mean?
Now, look, for the consumer, it is one step forward, certainly. But on the whole, it will take nowhere. And ultimately, the entire system has to address this. Now, what has happened basically? Now, earlier, if a buyer has bought a flat in a project which went into bankruptcy, that defaulted, then what will happen that now if the developer has defaulted, then the project will go into the NCLT. Now, they will try to resolve it. They try to solve this entire problem. But suppose if there is no money left in that project, then ultimately that project has to be auctioned. Now, in the case of auctioning, what is going to happen earlier, that the buyer had no right, basically. I mean, buyer had the right, but that is only after that the money given to the secured lenders. Now, suppose a bank has already given, say, 100 crore rupees to that project, and that is a secured lending because that money has been given against the certain security of that project. So now, from that auction, whatever money will come out of that, first the secured lenders will be paid. Only after paying the secured lender, if any money is left, then that would have been distributed to the unsecured lenders, and the customer basically left as an unsecured lenders. Now this customer has been declared as a financial lenders and secured financial lenders. So they will also be part of that banking funding also. And so that entire money will be clubbed together and it will be decided, and it will be taken as that money as the lended money, and it will be from the proceeds of the auctioning of that entire project, that entire creditors will be given money proportionately. So this is the one step ahead. But the issue is this, that in this situation also, buyers are not going to get ultimately anything.
Now, so let's stop here for a minute and help our consumers understand what we are saying. When a project is launched, a developer buys the land, seeks approvals from the approvals authorities, and then the developer takes project funding. That is taken from the banks, and those are the lenders that we're talking about who were declared the secured lenders. They had a right to be on the board of the builder so that the project could be monitored by them. And by rights, they should have been monitoring the project because their money was involved. Another set of finances came from you as a consumers. When you bought a house, and every installment that you gave, either through your own resources or through retail lending. When you went to a bank and borrowed money to buy a individual unit, the money was on your behalf for that particular unit. And often
that is your money.
That is your money.
Your money.
You're returning to the retail bank.
Yeah, but you have already paid the bank the amount that you have taken from the bank, that you have paid to the developer.
You paid to the developer. So the developer gets funding from a project lender, and the developer gets money through you from a retail lender. The third thing that happens is that the developer is supposed to return the money to the project lender, and you are supposed to return money to the retail lender. The developer
is supposed to give you the flat.
And the developer is supposed to give you the flat. Some of the money is used to service the loan. Some of the money is used to build the flat. In many instances, this financial discipline has not been maintained, which is what accounts for the large number of projects that are left incomplete. And therefore, the consumers have now been approaching the courts to say, what did we do wrong? We gave you the money on a promise that you would give us the house.
No, just remember what has happened, that now the bankers who had given them the money, when developer could not service that loan, those bankers went to the court saying this, that because this developer is not servicing my loan, so now I want to take them to the bankruptcy and I want to auction their project so that I can get my money back. Now, government has come out with a law under NCLT that, okay, this is called IBC, that Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Under that, if a lender has given more than 1 crore of rupees, then he has the right to go to the bankruptcy court and can declare that project as an insolvent. Now, if that is insolvent, then the NCLT will appoint a resolution person in that board, in that
Which is
company.
what happened in the case of JP. Right?
JP and the Amrapali also.
Yeah.
And they will try to resolve that issue. Now, the resolution is there are many ways to resolve it. Now, if suppose in that company there are some land left, then NCLT can auction that land or sell that land, and then they will raise some funds to complete the project and also to repay the banks and all that institution. But suppose if in that company no money is left, no land is also there, then what will happen? Then in that situation, this entire project will go, will be declared the bankrupt, and then it will have to be sold off piecemeal or on the whole. And from that money, the bankers, because they are the secured lenders earlier, so their money will be returned first. And after returning their money, if money is left, then only the customer who had financed that also from the advances, their money will be returned. Here, a lot of problem came up. Now, what happened that this customer has also mortgaged that flat he is supposed to get to a bank only to take loan and to pay that developer. Now, the issue is this, that he has already mortgaged that property to a bank. That means he has some right over that flat which is yet to be completed. In Maharashtra, if you pay 10%, then that flat which is yet to be completed will be registered on your name. So you have already ownership rights. So here the case gets complicated completely, because a buyer has ownership right in that property, and in the case of insolvency, that entire property can be auctioned or can be sold off. Now, what will happen to that ownership rights? Okay.
And that is the issue that is being debated in Supreme Court at the NCLT levels, and actually it has left a lot of legal professionals scratching their heads. It's a very complex issue. Today, with the buyers getting the status of a secured lender, can the money then, when you auction a property, if you auction it off, is there enough money to pay back everybody and ensure that everyone gets their money back? There isn't. And very frankly, there isn't, because the money has been used to construct in many cases, the houses are in advanced stages of construction. When you have used that money to construct, till you finish that product, you can't unlock its value. And therefore, in the semi-complete form, it's not going to get you enough money.
In the liquidation, nobody will get the money back. So now this is the big issue. In the case of the NCLT also, what is the provision that they will form a COC, that committee of creditors. And in that committee of creditors, the bankers, the secured lenders, they will sit. And they will have a say proportionate to their funding to that project. Now, with buyers declared as a secured lender, they will also sit in the COC. Now, the issue is this. Now, suppose people are saying that, okay, there are thousands of buyers, then the thousands of buyers cannot be the member of COC.
Right.
Certainly not.
Representation.
They will come through the representation. But in that also, now there is a problem. Now, if they will come and sit down, first of all, there are a number of problems. I will tell you the first problem. Now, in the COC, if the buyer's representatives comes, then they comes into the majority. They become in majority, because normally in all the projects, the secured lended by the banks are much less than the customer finance. The customer finance is much higher. So now the buyers will be in the majority. So the buyers will have a say in the COC. Now the resolution will happen according to the buyer's wishes. So the creditors, secured creditors like the bankers and all that, they don't like this. They say in that kind of a situation, their money cannot be recovered. So they becomes the subordinate or the second grade lender. So this is going to create further problem for the
industry itself. Will
secure
a bank
loan.
Will a bank come forward to fund a project for a developer? Maybe not. Unless there are enough checks and balances in place. And actually, Prabhakar, for the future, will the bankers not lend to the project? I suspect that is a very far-fetched
No, certainly they will do it. They will develop a mechanism.
Yes, they will develop a mechanism, and also remember that with RERA in place, you cannot fritter away cash that you've taken from lenders, from consumers. You have to be accountable to the finance, and it is going into an escrow account. 70% is going into an escrow account, which will be used to complete the project. So for the future, the issue that many developers have raised, we will not be able to raise finances for the future. I think that's a little far-fetched right now. For the future, let's talk about the present, because that's where the problem.
No, the second issue, the second issue comes that in the COC, who will sit, whether the buyer or lender to the buyer, because this is buyers not own money. Buyers has also borrowed money from the banks, taking that property only as a mortgage, as a collateral.
If there are 15 banks which have lent to a retail finance to a project, will there be 15 banks which will be represented in addition to the buyer?
It's a buyer.
Yes.
So it's a very complicated situation which is emerging.
Right.
So now, actually, some time back, I was talking to one of the legal advisor of a bank. He was saying that, I mean, neither the earlier NCLT, this code, nor this one, the revised one, really going to address this entire problem of real estate. Now, whether the real estate project should have a separate NCLT or separate resolution mechanism altogether, this I believe the legal expert has to decide.
That is something that the legal fraternity has to put its heads together.
Yeah.
But let me quote Mr. P.K. Malhotra, who was the former law secretary of the country, and he says that today what the Supreme Court is trying to do, and in fact the RERA tribunals are trying to do, especially in Maharashtra, is instead of going into a head-on collision course where everybody loses, can we bring everybody to a table and hope for resolution and conciliation? Both parties let a little go, and the whole effort is to complete the project.
Exactly.
Once the project is complete and the consumers get their houses, it's up to them. Do you want to keep it? Do you want to sell it? Build it? Once the houses are complete, the last few installments of the consumers comes back, and with that consumer funding, the project can actually go on. And this is something that both Prabhakar and I have been advocating for a long time. Instead of stalling projects and saying, 10 people saying, I want my money back, allow projects that are held up to be complete in whatever fashion. Talk about how you can bring it to a situation. We did bring some consumer bodies who said that they told the developer, we'll give you money, we'll put it in an escrow, you finish it tower by tower, so that the project moves on. Once one tower is finished and the receivables come in, start the next tower, and that has worked, and they have completed almost 8 towers since 2015. Now, the issue is that what you want? Is that what the consumer wants? And will the consumer, we understand that about 60-70% of consumers want their houses ready and delivered to them.
Not only that, now imagine, suppose a project 10% incomplete, suppose, and the total project cost is 100 crores, 100 crore project. 10 crore is required to complete it. With that additional 10 crore, the kind of value that could be created at that entire project would be much more than that 10 crore.
Absolutely.
No, because it is just will be used to complete the project.
And you unlock the value of that entire project when you complete the project.
It is always better for both, for the lender and for the buyer also, customer also, to complete the project once, and after completing it only, then you decide that who has how much credit on that or the money left in that project, and they should be distributed accordingly. But without completing the project, if you want to auction that project in between, liquidate the project in between, and then try to take your money out,
nobody will gain out of that.
Everybody will lose the money in that case. And that is what is happening. And particularly the buyers. You cannot sacrifice the interest of buyers. That is very, very important in this country. That must be understood, because that will create huge problem, not only for the system also, but for the sector itself. If that will start happening, that the buyers will not get its flat, And the system also, says throw its hand and says that no, we can't ensure that you will get your flat, then it will be very difficult. This entire sector will be doomed.
Right. And therefore, we urge buyers, please allow your projects to be complete. If you waited so long for your project to be complete, there is an effort to get all the distressed projects up and running. There are many development consultants who are coming forward and saying, we'll get the money. We just need a clean window to complete the project, take a management fee, and ensure the projects are done.
And system should also gear up towards that.
The system should gear up towards that.
To complete the project. It's not that, okay, allow them to liquidate the project and let the money go fit away like that. Then the buyers will start. Right. Buyers are the small guy who have given us 40 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 crore of rupees. Now, they will be just completely lose out in this entire battle in that case. And so I believe that the government and the system supposed to protect their interest, and that is their duty here.
And now we have started getting some queries. There's Nitin Verma from Delhi who says, how will IBC amendment help home buyers whose projects are stuck? Kindly suggest. That's exactly what we are discussing, Nitin. Today, you've got a status of a secured creditor, which means that you have as much right to get your money as the lender. And today, one of the things that we are recommending is both the lender as well as the buyers should concentrate on getting the developer to finish the project. Once the project is finished, and then even if it is sold off, it will fetch much higher values than as a distressed asset. The minute it is a distressed asset, its value goes down significantly, and there will not be enough money to pay out to everybody.
Exactly.
Else. So allow distressed projects to come to completion through conciliation, resolution, mediation. These are all ways that both the Supreme Court as well as the tribunals are trying to advocate. There is Niharika Singh who says, can I sell my flat stuck in a delayed project, which is also into litigation? Niharika, the idea is that many people will not come forward to buy that house.
Exactly. Otherwise, you can sell it. If there is a buyer, you can sell it. There is no issue.
There is absolutely no issue in selling the unit if you can find a buyer. But if it is already in litigation and it is also delayed, the chances of finding a buyer are normally very difficult. Yeah. There is Arun Singh of Noida who says, I'm a JP buyer and also got the possession of my flat. I'm worried if the company goes into insolvency, my flat can also be taken by the creditors of company as an asset of the company. Will I lose my flat in case JP goes bankrupt? If you've got your house, once JP hands over the house to you, the possession of the house to you, then it is not a JP asset, it is your asset.
You had bought it. It is your ownership in that.
The ownership, and it is registered in your name. Nothing will happen to your house, so you can rest assured. There is Nitin Singh of Noida who says he booked a flat in Amrapali project and the builder is in financial crisis. I'm still waiting for my project to get completed. How do buyers like me recover their money in such cases? I think Prabhakar would like to address the Amrapali case.
Here in this case, basically, now 2 of their project has already gone into the NCLT, but the entire Amrapali group has gone to the Supreme Court. Now, Supreme Court has come out with a judgment on that, and they have segregated this or divided all the projects in the 4 categories and the 4 baskets, and they have appointed 3 developers, Galaxy, IIFL, and Kanoria, and all these projects have been given to them to complete them. Now, in that, the Amrapali has to just deposit 250 crore with the Supreme Court.
Has it deposited?
He is likely to be depositing that money.
Right.
But besides that, even if he deposits or doesn't deposit, doesn't matter. All these 3 developers which have been given all these projects, they will start construction. Supreme Court has asked them to start construction because in all these projects there are monies which can pay back all the construction fund and construction requirement.
Sure.
So they have given timeline. If you will see, recently it has come out. They have given a timeline, and according to the timeline, all the projects will be completed, and buyers will have to pay money accordingly. Now, for the A category, which projects are about to be completed, and that can be completed, say, in the next 3 months to 6 months' time, in those projects, once the projects will be completed, buyers will have to pay the rest of the amount. In other projects, as they will meet the target,
it's according to construction link.
Construction link, developer will raise the demand, buyers will pay, which will go into the escrow account, and that money will be used to complete the project.
So buyers like Nitin should feel happy. Nitin, one thing is keep your money ready. The project is likely to start construction soon, and you will see that you will start getting your demand letters.
And Supreme Court has stayed the NCLT action. They are saying it that nothing can be auctioned, no property can be liquidated. All this property will be used first to complete the project.
Right.
Only after the completion, Supreme Court will look to it that what can be done for these creditors who have already lent to the projects. The Supreme Court here is going for the completion of the project.
That should bring a lot of cheer to people like Nitin Singh of Noida, who has booked a flat in Amrapali. And Nitin, the good news is that the three builders have been identified. The projects have been segregated and handed over to them, and construction is going to start very soon. Keep your money ready. You will be getting your demand letters, and please ensure that consumers like you spread the word that the project is restarting. Please start paying on time.
Yeah, in the next 2 weeks, in a fortnight's time, most of the projects construction will start.
Right. And that is the positive message that we're bringing today. There's Deepa Verma of Greater Noida who says that I have heard that there is an amendment to the IBC where home buyers will be treated as financial creditors. How will this law help JP and Amrapali buyers? One, notionally, you are safe.
Yeah.
That is the big thing. The second thing that we are advocating, and here Deepa, please understand what we're saying. The Supreme Court is saying that no projects can be auctioned off till they are completed and handed over to consumers. After that, what is left of the land, then they will assess how it can be done. The Supreme Court, in the case of Amrapali, has stayed the NCLT order. The company is not going into liquidation. The projects are being given to 3 different companies to execute and complete the projects, so that the consumers start getting them their units, and you will have to start paying your dues so that you can that project can go into completion, right? And that is positive. What is the status with JP right now?
JP is in JP also they tried to, because JP lot of land is there. So the lot many suitors came and they thought to acquire that entire project and complete the project also. But in that case, there was some issues. Some developer came and said that, okay, they will complete the project, but they will not take the liability of refunding the money or paying the damages or the penalty for the delay of the project and all that. So finally, the auction could not be done. And again, the JP Supreme Court has asked the Jayaprakash Jayaprakash Associate to pay up 2,000 crores. And Jayaprakash Associate has said that they will work to it to complete the projects. So right now it is still not very clear that what is going to happen.
Unlike Amrapali, timelines have not been set, and but Jayaprakash Associates, which is the parent company of JP Infra,
they are ready to implement.
They are ready to complete the project, and the Supreme Court is taking that also towards mediation rather than insolvency.
Yeah.
There is Mahesh Sharma of Delhi. He says, what will be the situation if a consumer has got possession and thereafter the builder goes bankrupt? Will the possession get impacted?
No.
If you've got your possession, hold on
it's
to it.
Ownership.
You own that project, and nothing will happen, even if the developer is the same. There is Karan Sharma of Mumbai who says, are buyers allowed to get their money back in case builder goes bankrupt post the payment of 100% amount? Today, the effort is not to declare bankruptcy. The effort is to make sure that all the projects are complete. And once the projects are complete, to assess how much value can be unlocked out of the unbuilt land, and then see how...
Or unsold units or things like that. And then they will auction or sell those unsold units and raise certain funds to return to the creditors. But the buyers will get the flat. Right now, that is where the Supreme Court is moving. But in this case also, if it goes into the insolvency and liquidation, then the buyers will certainly not get their entire money back. It will get
so it is much better not to push for insolvency, much better to push for completion of the units so that you get a unit that has a market value. And once the units have been handed over and you get possession of it, the value of that unit goes up significantly rather than as a distressed asset. There's Deepu Singh of Delhi who says, can home buyers approach the consumer court in case the builder is bankrupt for seeking interest on the money paid to the builder. Of course, you can go to the consumer court. If the project, but if it is a project that is under construction, it comes under the.
If it is a bankrupt, then there is
Then
no
it is
point
yeah, it's
going to the consumer court or not. Basically, then you'll have to find the way to get the project completed.
Right.
Now, either you'll have to, now there are many cases where the buyers have joined together, they opened a escrow account, they put their money together in the escrow account, and the projects they're trying to complete the projects.
And in that case, suppose you are a buyer of a stuck project and you've paid most of the money. There are buyers who have come together in groups and said, we'll put money to complete the project, but that money is only to complete the project. No taxes can be paid out of that money and no salaries can be paid out of that. It is only to ensure that the project itself is complete. And that is one way of ensuring. Of course, you've paid 100% of whatever was asked. For various reasons, there have been delays in the project. But today, the effort has to be towards completion of the project so that you can unlock the value of that project.
Exactly.
There's Vivek Sharma of Noida who says, I bought into one of Amrapali's project and still waiting for possession. The builder's almost bankrupt, but there are new builders who are going to come and build the project. Should I wait or ask for a refund? Please wait.
Yeah, refund you will not get. These developers which are coming in, they are not to pay the refund. For refund, you'll have to go to the Amrapali, who doesn't have so much money to refund you. So you'll have to wait for these new developers to complete the project so that you get the possession of the flat, and then you sell it in the market and recover your money.
And this is the mediation, conciliation, and completion route that the Supreme Court is taking is, let's complete the projects and unlock the value. So if you go out and ask for the money back, it's to the developer who did not deliver, and it's not normally not the developer who's the same developer who's completing the project.
Yeah.
So in Amrapali, for instance, you will not be able to get your money back from the developer. Wait till the project is complete, when everybody's interest will be taken care of by the court.
Because Supreme Court has clearly said it that for the refund they will look into it afterwards. Right now, Supreme Court is ensuring that the projects gets completed, and for that he is appointing these developers, and they are asking them to open a escrow account and all that and start the work. And these developers have committed certain amount, like the Galaxy has committed 400 crores, IIFL has committed 500 crores, IIFL has also committed certain 200 crores to complete to start work and to keep this much amount as an open position. And as the construction will go on, buyer will also pay and the money will rotate to complete the project.
Keep the money in the system. Basically, keep the money in the system. Go for you actually bought a house. You, for various reasons, it was delayed. Try and get that unit of yours that you purchased back. Later, you can sell that if you don't need it. But right now, if you think of pulling your money back, that is something that the system is not allowing.
Yeah.
Not for the time being.
But particularly investors are completely,
Yes.
I mean,
a lot of the problem is that a lot of the sales went to investors who wanted to pay a few installments and then get more money back out of that when they sold. Somewhere the markets tanked, and they are the ones who are trying to pull their money back. The end users normally are the ones who are saying, I want my house, I'd like to see the house completed. And the Supreme Court is supporting the end users and not the ones who had invested money to get better returns.
Yeah.
There's Chandra Kumar of Mumbai who says, is it true that financial institutions will be hesitant lending to real estate sector post the IBC amendment, in which buyers will be treated as financial creditors?
Yeah,
it is a complex issue, and on the face of it, one would think that financial lenders would say, I don't want to lend to this project. But remember that there is another law, and not only the NCLT that we're considering, there is another law called RERA, which mandates that if a developer launches a project, he can only launch from today. The button has been reset from when the RERA came into being. A developer can only launch a project after all the approvals are given. If the developer defaults on a project, which according to RERA timelines, he has to pay about what percentage of the project cost? 10%. 10% of the project cost, which is a whopping amount. And also remember that the money is in an escrow account. A developer does not have easy access to all the money that you put for the project. That money has to be used towards developing the project. And as each stage gets completed, the developer can source the money from that.
Yeah, no, actually, so far, what was happening in the real estate sector, that was also not very fair. What used to happen, that the developer used to first take the construction finance against the land, taking as a collateral, and then after they used to sell the project, they will just launch the project, they used to sell it and raise money from the buyers also, customers also, on the same property. And then after the surplus money, they take out and invest somewhere else. Now that is not going to happen. Now, as the bankers also know it, that whatever money they have given, that must be used in the construction so that their money is safe, and the customer money that is going to be paid, that also will go to the this account, dedicated account, and that money also be used to the construction of the flat. If that is going to happen, then certainly the project's value will be much more than the money is invested in that project. And then the chance of going into insolvency or liquidation will be very less. Right now, what has happened is mainly because of the lackadaisical attitude of the banks. They used to fund and forget it and allow these developers to fit away the money, take the money out to somewhere else, and they were just keeping a blind eye to that. Now that will not happen. So now the system will function because the responsibilities are also going to put on them. So the system should function, and then the value will be created, and the bankers will also make money, buyers will also be satisfied, and the builders will also make money. Right. Only because right now nobody was looking after, because banks were.
There was no system in the entire thing, and there was no entry barrier to who can become a developer. Whether you had enough financial standing to complete a project, whatever you were promising, would you be able to deliver? There were rates at which some of the projects have been launched, which was completely unreasonable and was below the cost of construction. One knew even at that point of time that it was a difficult task, and that's been proved. And I think checks and balances are in the system. Will the system correct itself so that developers can borrow again? We think so. We think the entire
system will be corrected, and they will be getting the money. The developer will get the money. There is no problem. Only thing is this: now it will be more efficient system. Yeah. Ultimately, now look, today the NPA in the banks is so high. It is mainly because bankers never try to fund it to a projects where they will get their money back in correct manner. I mean,
and those bankers were anyway on the board of creditors. They should have been looking at how the project was going.
Bankers have a lot of rights. They never exercised it.
The bankers did not exercise their rights. And today, if the bankers say, they cannot afford to sulk, because this is one sector that is on a high. The real estate industry is the second largest contributor to jobs. It is a major contributor to the GDP and growing. Its role is growing in the industry. So can the banks afford to say, no, I will not lend? We think that is an unreasonable thing, and we don't think that will happen.
Yeah. In case of Amrapali also, IIFL is coming in, which is an NBFC. Right. And they are taking up some projects to complete.
And they're confident.
They're confident to do that.
Whoever is taken, remember that if you've bought into one tower, that tower is not fully sold out. With your money, when that tower is complete, there are a few units that are left to sell. Also, the whole project has more land. So the value of that land can be unlocked, and that is how the new creditors will be able to
take their money back.
There is one Mohit Sharma of Noida who says, we have already paid 80 to 90% to JP. Now with the new developer who comes, will I have to pay again?
Not right now. So far, the Supreme Court has not said anything of that type. And particularly when JP is ready to complete the project with the sale price only, then I don't think that Supreme Court will accept any of such proposal where the new developer or in its proposal will say that I want more money from the buyer to complete the project. I don't think that possibility is there, and Supreme Court will accept such proposal.
Today, Supreme Court has allowed other developers to come in because they feel that the existing developers who are in stuck projects need to get their houses back. And the whole effort of the whole system is to make sure that the houses are complete. And will you be asked to unreasonably pay more money? We don't think so. It still needs clarity for us to be able to.
JP is ready to pay. JP is ready to build that entire project with the same money, with the same sale price. Then why Supreme Court will accept the proposal
of
that
another
party who says that I want some more money to complete the project? I don't think that is true.
Mohit Sharma again asked, how do you ensure that developers do not divert funds and create a situation where projects get stuck? I think that RERA is the law that is going to ensure that the checks and balances are there, that the developers are moderated, and the whole system works as a whole.
Yeah.
There is Amol Sharma of Mumbai who says, I bought a project in Navi Mumbai and there has been too much delay from the developer side. I fear that he does not have the money to construct the project. What should I do? Go to RERA.
Yeah.
In Maharashtra, there is no better authority than the RERA. If you go to the RERA website, complain as a consumer that that your project is stuck and that you don't know what the future of the project is, the RERA has two or three means of sorting out your problems. One, they have a conciliation panel with other developers in it who moderate between the developer and the consumer so that the case goes into resolution. The second thing is that if that doesn't happen, then the RERA regulator steps in, and they've also established a tribunal so that your problems can be resolved. In Maharashtra, in the state of Maharashtra, any city in Maharashtra, the RERA under construction projects are managed by RERA and very efficiently so. Please trust your RERA authority, go back to your authority. They will take charge of the situation. Prabhakar, let's talk about new projects that are being launched. Okay. Do you think new projects will come into the market, or do you think that there will be an effort to complete what is existing and you'll see a lot of joint ventures and so on? Now, let's pick up the instance of, suppose my project is stuck and this developer and this have gone for a joint venture with another developer. How do they communicate to the customers that the project has changed hands, that a new developer has taken over the project? Do we always need the quotes in between?
Not necessary. Like this one of the project in the Noida, Vidur Bharadwaj, he has joined hand with some other developers and he has appointed some other developers, but that is always with the consent of the buyers or the RWAs. They have talked to the RWAs and then they have appointed him, and accordingly an escrow account is opened and the buyers have been asked to put money in that as the new developer will raise the demand and they are going to complete the project.
Which project is this?
The Vidur Bharadwaj, this 3C.
Yeah.
Lotus, one of their projects, they have come with some new developer. There are two new developers have joined up. Now, similarly, the other developers are also talking to this for the joint development. But in this, mind it, the new developer is not going to take any liability of the original developer. Liability like delay payment, this penalty, or the taxes, or any other liability to the authorities and all those things.
So who has to take those liabilities?
That is the original developer.
Is he in a position to take those liabilities?
Now, right now what is happening that this original developer doesn't have any money. Okay, so there's a cash flow problem with him. Now, unless the construction is completed, buyers are not ready to pay. So he is asking new developer to join him. Now, if the new developer puts in his money, say 50 crore, 20 crores, whatever amount, and he starts complete construction. Now, after certain level, the buyers will start also thinking that now the project is under implementation and they will also pay. Now, with that money, and besides that, when the construction will start, the thinking is this, that unsold units can also be sold in the market where there could be some buyer which will come forward. With all those money, projects will be completed. And once the projects is will complete, then all the buyers has to pay their residual amount. And in the calculation, what they are saying right now, that the buyers, the dues towards buyer is more than the money required to complete the project. So then there will be a surplus amount left. With that money, the developer is saying that he will pay authorities dues or the other liability he will complete, and then the project will go for the registry and all that. So this is what mechanism they are working. Then you will say that why not he's borrowing money? Because no lender is ready to pay him money.
Because today that is not a credit-worthy project.
Exactly.
And that's what we're trying to tell you again and again, that if it is a distressed asset, it is not a credit-worthy project.
Exactly. So, but the developer, the existing developer, the new developer is saying that he has capacity to build, which is lying idle because the work is not going on. So he will utilize his capacity. At the same time, when the money will start flowing, he will charge the amount and he can recover the amount and will make money. So this is how they are right now working also.
And we thank you, viewers. I can see a lot of interest. The same people are coming back with further clarifications. Is it possible to recover your money from the developer who's bankrupt? I booked a unit in Amrapali and I don't know which new developer is going to construct my tower. What should I do? Does it matter which developer is going to complete the tower?
He's announcing it. I believe the Times of India day before yesterday has published it in the Noida edition. Otherwise, we will be publishing this again in the some Times Property or other edition. You people are also publishing it, so it is already there.
You can look in the media columns. It is going public. Which developer is going to complete which project? The names have already been announced. The units have already been announced. So
timeline is also given.
The timelines are given, and these timelines are now they are answerable to the Supreme Court. To the Supreme Court today. The projects that are being monitored by the Supreme Court, no other authority is answerable to that, right? We've got Amol Sharma who says he's bought in Navi Mumbai. His developer does not have the money to construct the project.
You should go to the RERA.
Go to RERA. Don't try and solve this yourself. Your RERA authority is very, very competent and will be able to do it. Will IBC also say something on interest a home buyer will receive?
No, IBC is just recovery of the money for the bankers, the secured creditors. They don't talk about the interest and all that. Whatever money is left, suppose in the liquidation more money comes in, then certainly the IBC will make it that principal interest should also go to them. Right. But if the money comes less than the entire principal amount, then it will be divided proportionately to the entire creditors.
So Deepak Kamlesh Singh, you have to hold your horses right now. You have to ensure that the project is complete and its true value is unlocked. Once the value is unlocked and the consumers start getting their money, that's when you will find that we will talk. The next stage will start getting addressed, which is how do you compensate people for the delay. But right now, the entire system is geared towards completion of projects. There's Neha Singh of Delhi who says, how do I ensure that my builder is financially sound and do not face situation like bankruptcy? If you're talking about in the future, you will be protected by RERA. You have to ensure that you buy those projects which are already registered under RERA. Insist on a RERA number. Find out what that RERA number is. Ask for the approvals. Today, RERA has mandated that consumers can ask for all the approvals that are there for the project. Buy only into those projects that have approvals. The real estate as a short-term trading asset those days have gone. We don't think that the disproportionate amount of returns that some people got is going to come back again. It's a far more regulated, steady industry, and therefore, if you're buying it as an asset, please think of it as the returns as what any other asset will give you. Therefore, today what you're buying is going to be secured for the future. The only problem is projects that are incomplete and under construction right now. Mohit Sharma wants to know, I think we've taken Mohit's query. Okay, we have Kirti from Mumbai who says, I approached my developer in Mumbai for refund as he had delayed the construction for 6 years. Now he says he's ready to give me a unit in another project which is completed. Should I take it?
I don't think that the developer will be in the position to refund our money. So it's better to take a flat, and if she wants money, then sells it. And ensure it that the new flat that she is going to get is of the same value. That's only
the logic that Prabhakar is using is the same. A distressed asset has less value. A completed asset has more value. Therefore, if your developer is giving you a project which is already complete, even if you don't intend to stay in that, take that asset, take possession of that. If you don't want it, you can always sell it off. And that will give you better value than what the developer is in a position to give you today. There's Lalita who says, how do we trust the new developers in terms of construction quality? Will they deliver the same quality as promised to us? This is an area of concern, and a lot of people have been raising it on our forums. A developer, you chose a developer because it met your budget. Maybe the past projects you were happy with. A JP was always known for its quality of construction. Now, when that goes to some other developer, how does the Supreme Court and the other authorities ensure that the quality of construction is going to be?
Now, like in Noida area, the Noida authority or the state authority, they have an engineering team which normally before giving completion certificate ensure that that entire construction is of good quality or the quality that they have mentioned. Plus the structural thing and all the design has already been evaluated and given the consent to them. So, I mean, of course, the concern will be there for that. Particularly if a project has gone into the IBC or the bankruptcy, then certainly these kind of issues will come up. But still, I mean, then you'll have yourself try to monitor it. Plus, you should try to sensitize the authorities so that they keep checking all those projects,
Right.
so that and report it to the Supreme Court, or otherwise you can also go and present it to the Supreme Court through their buyer's lawyer,
Yeah.
that the quality construction quality is going down, so Supreme Court should
So
look
basically,
into it.
you should join up with other buyers groups. As a group of buyers, you become a good pressure group, and if need be, you can take the services of an engineering firm or something like that. In fact, I was talking to a developer in Bangalore the other day, and what he suggested was that you must have a technical ensure that the technical specifications are all met, which means the engineering services, the lift, and so on should be of the requisite quality. And if you're a group of buyers, maybe you can employ an engineering services company.
Oh, the authority is there because Noida authority has their department which ensure it that the quality of construction is maintained. So you should represent to that department and say, and try to ask them to inspect that project and ensure it that the quality of construction is maintained and report it to the Supreme Court.
Right. Which means that you have the authority to go to ask them to give you a fair assessment that the quality of construction is exactly what was promised to you. And today, in the RERA world, in the Supreme Court rulings driven world, I don't think any developer is going to renege on the quality of construction. There is Pradeep of Noida who says he's a joint owner of the property, and his co-borrower sued him as the project is stuck in the JP case. How do I handle this? These are the nuances that are going to come back. Two borrowers have taken the money together to buy a house.
So why is he suing him? Because it is not his fault.
I don't think your co-borrower has a legal standing, because if both of you are co-borrowers and it is legally ensured that both of you are co-borrowers, he cannot sue you because you didn't delay the project. You delayed, JP delayed the project, and there is a big effort to get the project completed.
And the money that you have borrowed has gone rightfully there only.
You haven't siphoned out the money. I don't think he has much of a standing. Even if he sues you, I think you will be protected.
Yeah, not much is there.
Thank you so much for watching us. This is one very, very important issue, and this is something that I think across the Delhi NCR, a lot of buyers are contending with.
Yeah.
We've only barely scratched the surface with JP, Amrapali, and Unitech. Unitech still hasn't come into any kind of resolution, and there are thousands of buyers who are waiting for resolutions. As we hear more about every time there is a new law or a new nuance that comes up, rest assured, Prabhakar and I are going to talk to the industry, understand what your solutions are, and come back and advise you. Thank you for watching This Week in Property.